United States Marine Corps, Montford Point Marines, Certificate of Recognition. This is presented to Hiram L. Knowles. In recognition of selfless service and sacrifice, the United States Marine Corps proudly honors the legacy of the Montford Point Marines. From 1942 to 1949, nearly 20,000 African American men joined the Marine Corps despite harsh contradictions between fighting for democracy overseas and the denial of civil rights at home. After completing arduous and segregated basic training at Montford Point Camp, North Carolina, these Marines served with distinction during some of World War II's most challenging struggles in the Pacific. Some made the ultimate sacrifice. Others continued their service through Korea and Vietnam and back home and continue to fight for civil rights. Montford Point veterans are legends in the rich history of the Marine Corps, choosing to put their lives on the line in service to the nation. They've advanced the cause of civil rights and contributed to President Truman's decision to desegregate the armed forces in 1948. 64 years later, the 112th United States Congress awarded the Congressional Gold Medal as the highest expression of national appreciation to the Montford Point Marines for patriotism and distinguished achievement. Collectively, all Montford Point Marines helped pave the way for many men and women of all ethnicities and backgrounds who serve in today's military. Semper Fidelis, and God bless the Montford Point Marines. Signed, Joseph F. Dunford, General, United States Marine Corps, 36th Commandant of the Marine Corps.
What we're here to do today. What we're here to do today. Congressional Gold Medal recognition.
What's up?
Got your Congressional Gold Medal. No.
Sure. Would you like to look at it and put it off here?
I can't see on mine. Right on.
Okay.
Hold on there. I didn't see it now, yo. Let me see it. Thank you. Yeah, I won't see how I want to do it. I won't see it now. Tell me what I want to see. What they give me. Yeah. That's gold. Give me the water.
Now this is what you put it on the ribbon.
Huh?
This is what it's going to look like when you put it on the ribbon.
Oh, yeah, God. It's the same thing.
The plaque on what we're found on.
I mean, the one that is.
The Congressional Gold Medal.
What?
No, that's especially for you. Just for you, from the Commandant of the Marine Corps, for your service.
Oh, God.
We didn't get that. We special.
Yeah. Thank you very much.
The White House, Washington. I send greetings to all those honoring the legacy of the Montford Point Marines. Almost 7 decades ago, as our nation was at war, more than 20,000 African American men enlisted in the United States Marine Corps. After completing arduous and segregated basic training at Montford Point Camp, many of these Marines served with distinction during a number of World War II's bloodiest struggles. Some made the ultimate sacrifice in these battles. Others continued their service in Korea and Vietnam. Despite being denied many basic rights, Montford Point Marines committed to serve our country with selfless patriotism. Choosing to put their lives on the line, these men help advance civil rights and influenced President Harry Truman's decision to desegregate the armed forces in 1948, embodying the Marine Corps motto of Semper Fidelis, always faithful. These heroes paved the way for future generations of warriors, regardless of background, to serve in the finest military the world has ever known. On behalf of a grateful nation, I thank you for your service and for your contributions to the cause of freedom at home and around the world. May God bless our men and women in uniform, and may God bless the United States of America. Signed, Barack H. Obama, President of the United States.
President of the United States. Just read it, yes.
Good afternoon. My name is James Maylard. I'm the National Regional Vice President for the North. I'm also the National Scholarship Director. I'm also the President of the New York Metropolitan Chapter, whom you see these gentlemen are part of, as well as the other members that you see around here that are wearing the piss cutters. We are here today to honor you with this certificate. The National President has conferred to me to present the Montford Point Marine Association Inc. Certificate of Recognition. The United States Congress, Congressional Gold Medal awarded to Sergeant Hiram L. Knowles. In recognition of honorable service during the period of 1942 to 1949, while promoting peace and stability for the United States of America during World War II, the people of this nation are forever grateful. In a unanimous and bipartisan vote by the members of the 112th Congress of the United States, the Congressional Gold Medal Bill, House Bill 2447, was approved to be awarded to the first African American Marine recruits to enlist and attend boot camp training at the segregated Camp Montford Point, North Carolina. The June 27, 2012 awarding of the Congressional Gold Medal to the Montford Point Marines, a bill, House Bill 2447, was signed by the President of the United States of America, President Barack Obama. The Congressional Gold Medal is the highest civilian honor bestowed by Congress for distinguished achievement. The Montford Point Marines' dedicated contributions of perseverance, courage, and outstanding service on and off the battlefield has inspired social change in the United States Marine Corps in America. Therefore, be it known that this certificate identifies the recipient as having earned the title Montford Point Marine. His devotion to duty reflects great credit upon himself and was in keeping with the highest traditions of the Marine Corps and the United States Naval Services. Signed, Dr. James T. L. Hart, Jr., National President of the Montford Point Marine Association. Also, Mr. James H. Carr, Master Gunnery Sergeant, retired, National Vice President of the Montford Point Marine Association, who happens to be here at this point in time. This is the National Vice President. Raise your hand, sir.
And yes, Sergeant Hiram L. Knowles. What a treat it is to be here today and to honor your sacrifice and your service. It is truly, truly an honor. As the Commissioner of the Mayor's Office of Veterans Affairs, I cannot tell you what this means. And you're right, you didn't do it all alone. Jean, family served too, and Jameer.
That's must be here now to see this.
That is exactly right. And we just want to, all of us here, as Americans, and many of us as proud Marines, some of us as proud soldiers, we all want to let you know that you and your battle buddies are the giants, the pioneers upon whose shoulders we still stand. And we thank you now and forever for your sacrifice, your service. God bless you.
Family, General, Colonel, Sergeant Major, I just want to say it's a great pleasure to be up here again. I'm a New Yorker, although I live in Georgia. I wrote out some things because while I got a good memory, it's short. And I don't want to forget anything. I want to say some things about you. But one thing, just before I arrived here, I had a call from Lieutenant General Willie Williams, who just retired a year or so ago as the third-ranking Marine in the entire U.S. Marine Corps. He's African American. When we came through, it was a bleak outlook. We couldn't even dream of having such ranks. But he said regards to all of you. So regards to all of you from General Williams. Let me say this, exactly 1 month, I mentioned my friend Sergeant Hiram Lloyd Knowles, to retired Lieutenant General Willie Williams, former Chief of Staff to the Commandant. When he heard my story, he called Marine Corps Commandant General Joseph A. Montford, who just gave you that certificate. And as a result, we are here today to present the Congressional Gold Medal to yet another dignitary, Montford Point Marine, Knowles. This is indeed a high honor, a very high honor. In 1776, the Congress has sought to honor a distinguished person, group, or event for their service to the nation. Fittingly, the very first honoree was General George Washington in the year 1776. He was followed over the years by such war heroes as Generals Andrew Jackson and Ulysses S. Grant. And I hasten to mention Admiral John Paul Jones. Most of you young fellows weren't around when he came along, but I remember him so well. The criteria changed as former Prime Minister Winston Churchill and singer Marian Anderson were honored. In 1941, 11-year-old Ronald Boucher of Vermont was honored, 11 years old. This young man rescued 5 boys from an icy lake at the risk of his own life. At the presentation, he was asked to say something. His only words were, "I'd rather be at home." So it is with our honoree. When I told him about the medal, the requirements, etc. in 2012, his response was, "I'm not up to it. I'm not coming." I'm talking about you. You. Okay, we Marines have a tradition there. No Marine is left behind. So the Commandant, General Williams, and this ancient ambassador, supported by this able contingent of Marines, and Montford Point Marines especially, have combined to honor my friend Sergeant Knowles. He was a pioneer in an outfit that wasn't ready to accept him back in 1942. Black Marines had to fight both at home and abroad to show their patriotism. The Corps itself did not use them to their highest potential until they proved themselves in battle. Back home in Arkansas, for example, during World War II, young Marine Oscar Seaton was severely beaten for wearing the uniform. In Washington, D.C., newly promoted Jim Huger was detained for impersonating a sergeant major. And by the way, on January 4th, that gentleman turned 100 years old. He was the second black sergeant major ever in the Marine Corps. The country, probably with a feeling of guilt, had difficulty believing that black men were willing to enlist and even to die for their country. It changed when we began receiving Bronze Stars, and Purple Hearts, and today, the Congressional Gold Medal. We don't have it parked outside, but in just a year ago, the Marine Corps, the Navy I should say, dedicated a new style ship in the Navy called the U.S. Navy ship Montford Point in our honor. So the Marine Corps has done an awful lot to show its appreciation of us. Today we have 2 3-star generals in the U.S. Marine Corps, plus many, many major generals and brigadier generals. So the Marine Corps has come a long way. It was my good fortune to meet young Sergeant Knowles some 70 years ago as we prepared for the invasion of Japan. You remember in Japan and Hawaii?
Yes, sir.
That's where we met. I have never forgotten him. I thank the Marine Corps for bringing us together. Last, I thank him for his distinguished service to our Corps and our country. Thank you, Hal.
Thank you.
and to all of you men and women who have served in the Marine Corps and in other branches of the service. I give my heartfelt thanks to you for your service to the country. Thank you.
Her names at the moment, I'm a little nervous, but just living in a household with my father, who for years has always stressed how he's a Marine. I just never really took him as serious as I could have, having been born at such a later age in his life. But coming into today, I actually get a chance to see and have a piece of what he experienced and what he belongs to as a family. And I'm very proud of what he's done and continue to be, as well as my mom. And I just want to say thank you for all of them taking the time out of their busy schedules to come. Thank you. It's a great honor to be an American, someone like my father who has such an impact on our country. It's just an amazing feeling to know that I have that. And someone who can tell stories about our history and our timeline, where we came and how far we came. So it's definitely an honor. He's 91 years old. I can see just about everything. Even having mom as our president, that's a great theme, and to celebrate that with him, his presence, knowing what he came from, where he is now. It's a great honor to have him on and help. It's actually an honor.
This was in Maui in Hawaii, but we were ready to go and ready to do our part.
How would you describe Sergeant Knowles as a Marine and a person in general?
He was a lot of fun. He was in clerical. He took care of business. He didn't take any stuff. He really knew what he was doing, and I was pleased to serve with him.
As a Montford Point Marine yourself, how would you describe your time in service?
My service was a great education for me. I spent the first 8 months out in the Solomon Islands, and I learned an awful lot. It was like a college education, reading, living with medical corpsmen, learning a lot of the medical terms. I came out a very well-educated person out of the Marine Corps, although I didn't formally go to school as such, except theory.
Well, thank you very much, sir.
Thank you, and thank you for your service.